Hi all, this is Ramakrishna and Ramesh from connect2java.com. In our previous session, we have seen how to install MySQL on Ubuntu OS. In this tutorial, we will install Hive on the sudo mode with Ubuntu and then integrate with MySQL. So below is the URL from which we can download the Hive latest version. So to download the Hive, we will in on Ubuntu we will use wget command, and the latest version which we are using is 1.2.0. I have already downloaded this Apache latest Hive version, which is available at my folder user local Hadoop. If you see, this is the Apache Hive 1.2.0 is a file which we are going to use it now to install the Hive. So the first step is to extract the Apache Hive CZ file. The command is star minus zxpf, and then try to extract this. Okay, now the Hive is extracted. Just for easy readability, I'll rename the Apache Hive 1.2.1-bin Hive. So we'll use the move command to rename to Hive. Okay, now let's set the class path in bash.rc file. So I'll use sudo pi bash.rc to export the class path. I have already added these two, so we need to add the Hive prefix, like the root is user local Hadoop slash Hive, and slash bin is where all the sh files will be there, and slash conf where all the configurations related to Hive would be there. So I have set these two in the bash.rc file. Okay, so now the next step is to execute the bash. It will reset the class path if you use exec bash. Bash file. Now if you see currently what are the Hive we have extracted here, and the configuration files which we need to change for Hive. The first one is hive-env.sh file, where we need to export the class path of the Hadoop. The actual hive-env.sh file is hive-env.sh.template within Hive, so we need to copy this hive-env.sh.template to hive-env.sh, and we use the below command to Okay, so now let me go to in the Hive folder and conf. So let me set the Hadoop path in Hive in.sh file. Paste. Okay, sorry, I have opened the file in view mode. I think in the view mode it is not accepting to edit. Let me open the file in, oh, okay, it's not about that. So right now the hive-eno.sh file we have created, if you see, it is showing the permission as root. Only the root user has permission to update this file. So what we can do is just to run this command. Command to get the permissions to edit the file. So here we're saying the root and the user for Hadoop. See now, if you see, we can edit this file now. hive-eno.sh. Let me go down and try to set the Hadoop. Okay. The other main configuration file within Hive is hive-site.xml file. So normally this file will be like hive-default.xml. So we need to copy this hive-default.xml.template to hive-site.xml. So let me copy this file to copy to hive-site.xml. Okay, so if you go to user, I'll just go to gedit to edit that file. So our Hive is at user local Hadoop Hive, and inside this configuration we have hive-site.xml, and yes, here I will try to edit the properties to integrate with MySQL. So the reason why we are integrating with MySQL with Hive, because the default database provided by Hive is in hive.xml file is Derby. If you see, Yeah, so this is the default database used within Hive. So the problem with the Derby database is it's a single user database. That means it cannot handle concurrency. If multiple users want to access Hive, so it cannot create concurrency. So that's why we are using MySQL to store the metadata related to the all the Hive internal or the external tables. It's within the MySQL. So within MySQL, it saves the metadata related to the all the tables within Hive. Okay, let's change the properties. So to set the MySQL database within HiveSite.xml, we need to change four properties. Let me see what are the four properties we are trying to edit. The first property is the MySQL connection URL which we are going to use to connect to MySQL. So it is jdbc colon mysql colon slash slash localhost, as we are installing MySQL and Hive on both on the same machines. So that's why we are using localhost colon, and MySQL mostly runs on the port number 3306 slash Hive metadb question mark create database if not exists equal to true. It means that if the Hive metadb database is not available in the MySQL, it creates a schema with Hive metadata db. If it already exists, it uses the Hive metadb to store all the metadata related to the whole Hive internal as well as the external tables. And the next property is connection driver name. So the connection driver used between Hive and MySQL is com.mysql.jdbc.driver, and the other are connection username and connection password. So initially while installing the MySQL, we have given the default username as root to connect to the MySQL, so that's why we use the username as root, as well as the password also we have given the same as root. So these are the four properties which we need to change within the hivesite.xml file to integrate MySQL with Hive. So let me change these four properties in the hivesite.xml. I'll, I'll try to comment that there be default configurations within Hive, and I'll try to update these properties with MySQL database. Okay, we have set the MySQL database name, and the next one is connection.driver name. Let me find for connection.driver name. Okay, the next one to change is connection username. Okay, we have changed all the four properties. Now, so from Hive, if you want to connect to MySQL, we need to use the MySQL JDBC driver. So whatever the path we have mentioned, like com.mysql.jdbc.driver, so we need to add the respective package in the Hive lib folder. So we can download that from http://dev.mysql.com/downloads/connector. So this is the connector or the bridge which is used in between connecting from Hive to MySQL. I'll try to copy that connector file to the Hive lib folder. Lib. Copy from home Hadoop downloads where I have my MySQL connector file to the lib. Okay. Given the permissions same as the remaining other chats. Now we need to create these folders within Hadoop. So normally when you try to create any table within Hive and try to load the data, it stores the data at this /temp path. In this /temp folder, you will even have all the metadata I think related to the Hive. Okay. So let me try to connect to Hive and see.
Exhibit permission.
So Hive is the command used to connect to Hive prompt. Let me see, it is giving some problem while connecting. Let me see the exception. Access denied for user root. I believe I have given a, I have might have missed out giving the password within the hive-site.xml file. Let me go back to my hive-site.xml file and see whether I have added the password or not. Yes, here I have forgot to give the password for connecting the MySQL database. Let me give the password as root. Yes. And also let me try to run the hive command again. So just now we have added the password correctly, and I'll run the hive command again. And right now it is giving some other exception like illegal argument exception, relative path in absolute URI system.java.io.temp directory. It means to say that it could not able to access the system variable java.io.temp. So what we can do is, sometime back we have created a temp directory /temp. So that /temp directory we can directly hardcode in Hive path. So normally what happens is, within Unix, if you give java.io.temp directory, it should automatically find the temp directory within the Unix. But here within Ubuntu, it is failing to find the temp directory. So let's hardcode it for time being with /temp there in the hive site.xml. Okay, so let me open the hive site.xml file. I'll try to edit the file. Okay, let me find for the variable system colon. I'll try to rename this to use as value as slash temp slash, instead of using the system colon user dot name, we can directly use dollar user dot names. So if it has to if it has to write anything inside slash temp, it writes depend upon the session, the user session which I have logged in. So it means that if it has, for example, if I logged in with Hadoop user, then it should write in slash temp slash Hadoop slash, it creates a directory inside the Hadoop folder. Value, okay. Let me search if it has any name. The other,
Yeah.
Okay, we have changed it in all the places. Let me try to save and run the Hive prompt again. Yes, so now we were able to connect to the Hive. Yes, we were able to successfully connect to the Hive. So right now, if I use the command show tables, as there are no tables in Hive, so it's not showing anything. But if you see, the command got executed successfully. Yeah, thank you for listening this video. In our next tutorial, we're going to see how to load the data to the Hive, which stores the data to the HDFS, and then we will see how to write the queries to process the data through MapReduce and get the data in Hive. Thank you.